Hey guys, I'm back. So I wanted to dive into my life story. Okay, I'm just going to start at the beginning. So I was born on October 2nd, 1987 at 5:10 in the morning. I was 7 pounds, few ounces. When I was 6 months old, somebody dropped me, I think. I broke my right leg at the babysitter's, so we just assumed that somebody dropped me. My mom told me, I still have the cast. It's in my keepsake box. My mom told me one time that I took it off in the middle of the night, and she had to rush me back to the hospital to put it back on. Oh, it's really odd for you to break your femur. Your femur is the hardest bone in your body, and when you're a child, your bones are very flexible. So I must have fell from a very high spot, or it could be because of cancer that we didn't know about yet. But I think they just dropped me. Anyways, so that was my first broken bone at 6 months old. And then at age 3, I got diagnosed with AML leukemia. It is the adult version of leukemia. Okay, all my friends I went to a cancer camp with after I got better, they had ALL. So I was the only one that had AML. Not that it made any difference, but it seems like in the long run, I'm struggling a lot more with my body than they are. So I think that has to do with the experimental chemo. It almost killed me. Didn't do any good. So we'll go back. My parents told me that I continuously complained about my joints hurting. So a 3-year-old always complaining about their joints hurting. It's very odd. So they took me to the doctor and found out I had cancer. So we got in the car and we drove all the way to Wichita from my hometown. So it was about a 2-hour drive. Got admitted to the hospital. I remember being in a wheelchair. I was so excited. I was like, I'm in a wheelchair. But the real reason was I wasn't able to walk. It hurt too much, I guess. I wasn't able to walk. But they said I was just a happy-go-lucky child, you know. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I was sick. I'm so glad I don't remember a lot of it. My friends, they were either 8 or older when they got there, so they had to deal with peer pressure, you know, going to school and looking different, not having hair. Me, I was 3, so I just wore a little bonnet. I had to wear a mask. That's why nowadays I really don't like wearing the mask. It reminds me of that. It really always dried my eyes out, which I think you guys can empathize now. Yes, masks were not okay. Not with me, but I appreciate them now just because I cannot control my facial expressions. Yep. So it's saved me a lot of drama, I guess you can say. So I appreciate masks now. Anyways, so I remember we were in the hospital and I won a swan. It was a white, beautiful lotion bottle swan. And I remember getting out of the bath and my mom set me on the counter and I accidentally knocked it off and it shattered. I was so disappointed because I worked so hard to get that. Oh, things you remember, you know. I had spinal taps done. That's when they puncture your lower back with this big old needle. And they had a closet there that had toys in it. So if I was good, you know, if I did okay, I could get a toy. I think I got a water gun before, but the thing that I still remember, I still have, is Snuggles. You know, the bear, that laundry bear, Snuggles. Yeah, I have him. And I still have him. So that was that. I was in the hospital a total of 6 months. off and on. My mom said I was able to go home, but then I would relapse, I guess, or got worse and I'd have to go back. So it was a duration of 6 months total that I was in the hospital. My parents were separated at the time, so one would stay with me and one would stay with my sister. So the experimental chemo did not work, okay? My only chance of survival was a bone marrow transplant. And usually they have donors. Well, nobody in my family matched mine. I don't know what that means exactly, but they couldn't be a donor. So I had to save my own life, basically. They took my bone marrow and they cleaned it and they gave it back to me. Chances were really low. It was less than 30% chance of survival rate. So back to that story. One day I was down in the basement of my mom's house and I was dusting and I came across these pictures on the mantle and I'm like, Mom, why did you get pictures of professional pictures taken of me with no hair? Excuse me. Excuse me. And she said, I didn't think you were going to survive. You had less than 30% chance to live. And I wanted a picture of us all together, just in case. And she started crying. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here. I survived. But I could just imagine how emotional that would have been for my parents. Yeah. Thinking that their child's gonna die and you can't save them. She only could save herself. Well, I think that's probably where I got my strong will. Ever since I was little, I was in that way. So when I got my bone marrow transplant, I had to go to Texas, Fort Worth, Texas. And I was put in this isolation room where only one parent can come in and they had to be gowned up because my immune system, I didn't have an immune system anymore. But I do remember there was this lady that came in and she would play games with me and it made me feel good, you know? So for the first, I don't know, 3-4 years of college, I was trying to be that person. I couldn't figure out who that person was or what I wanted to do. So finally, I figured it out, but that's another story. So yes, I was in an isolation room. I don't know how long I was in the hospital. I do remember they had to put a catheter in me. As a 3-year-old, nothing should be put in that area. I remember sitting on my potty. I think I had to have a bowel movement. I don't know. I was sitting on my potty in the room. And I remember getting up and running, like to my mom or dad or something. Well, the catheter was attached to the bed. And it pulled. Oh, it hurt so bad. I remember that. That hurt really, really bad. Oh. But I also remember, so I was in an isolation room, okay? Only one parent could come in. So the other parent or my cousins and relatives had to talk to me through the window on a phone. And I remember there was a big M&M, cardboard M&M out there. It had my name on it and people signed it. We don't have it anymore. I wish we kept that, but I remember seeing that. And then I was able to come out of my room. I was getting better and they put streamers across the doorway. So I was supposed to run through them. Well, I couldn't get through them. I was just too weak and I was too little. So my mom or dad, I don't remember, had to push me through and break the streamers. Anyways, I remember I was attached to my sister, and it was my 3 cousins, 3 girls, and my sister were there. And I have pictures of it, but They said I was attached to my sister like no other. Me and my sister now don't have a relationship, but that's a whole nother story. Well, that's all I can recall at the moment about my history with cancer. My mom did give me a diary or journal that she had kept when I was, she mailed it to me for my 30th birthday. And she said there's a lot of stuff in there that, I mean, it was her personal journal, you know, so don't share about it. But I will share once I get it back. It's in Kansas right now. I live in Oregon. I will share what she wrote in there about me, not about her personal life. Because I think it'd be very insightful. Because as a child, you don't remember a lot of things. And thank God for that.